You are welcome to yet another episode of LFN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. The federal judge of the U.S. District of Brooklyn, Ann Donnelly, is back on the scene, this time seemingly more serious for reasons best known to her, and has decided to dip her hand into R. Kelly's coffers a lot more directly than ever before by ordering that together with Universal Music Group, he pays over $500,000 to cover what he owes the alleged New York victims in restitutions. This comes a few months after the same judge authorized the garnishing of his prison commissary account, from which approximately $28,000 was forcefully taken out for the same reason. The zeal with which Judge Ann Donnelly is pushing for the compensation of these women is rather alarming enough to cause suspicions of foul play. Remember, as we mentioned in some of our previous video releases, there has been several individuals in queue waiting to receive payment in form of compensations and debt clearances from R. Kelly. Among these were even more urgent payments the Department of Justice had already ruled over way before the New York trial process commenced, such as R. Kelly's former studio landlord, to whom R. Kelly owes a sum of approximately $3 million, an amount twice the total balance in royalties available on his UMG account. While the landlord's case was dealt with a lot earlier than the New York case, the Brooklyn federal judge is ordering that her ruling be prioritized and her favorite women paid before this landlord, who has been patient now for 5 years. We also did publish a video which talked about the accuser who was given an automatic win against R. Kelly when he failed to show up in court in the early stages of his arrest. This accuser goes by the name Heather Williams. With Jennifer Bonjean's legal intervention, the Department of Justice was not hesitant to disqualify her judgment and have her pending restitutions equivalent to $4 million quickly nullified. The court ordered to have R. Kelly's royalties garnished immediately to a tune of over $500,000 in order to have Judge Ann Donnelly's favorite accusers fully taken care of and their restitutions cleared in full, is revealing an unusual pattern of favoritism, and creating even more suspicions she could be trying to rig the justice system to their favor. There are in fact several possible explanations for this move. Apart from the already known prejudicial tendencies and inclination to the accuser's side by the district judge, it has remained a possibility that these accusers were promised this money way before the trial even started. And this should explain why several accusers were easily whisked into becoming government witnesses, yet they were defending R. Kelly only months before. It's not easy to win a case where witnesses have been cashed up or promised immunities and restitutions of this tune, let alone granted access to what should have been private restricted prison communication recordings that featured R. Kelly's conversations with his attorneys, and with his girlfriends then. There is definitely a strange desire by the New York court to see Donnelly's team of accusers paid off as soon as possible, as if to say they have something against the DOJ or against government which they could spill out if left unattended to for a long time. The judge definitely knows the kind of people she is dealing with here. If they manage to betray their full-time caretaker R. Kelly just because he became bankrupt, she definitely knows what they are capable of. The other possibility is that the New York federal judge does find urgency in having these accusers paid up as quickly as possible, because she has done her own analysis of attorney Jennifer Bonjean's appeal submissions and sees a defeat on its way. This would in fact cause her to panic, because in such circumstances, the New York accusers will end up with nothing to gain from the service they rendered in assisting government and its employers take down R. Kelly. She would rather see them fully paid and government having to refund this money to the defendant after an appeal than have to deal with the wrath of these women. She must have seen the perfect example of Geronda Pace when she complained about being forced to testify for a third time, something that was likely outside her prior agreement with government.
Today, Homeland Security showed up at my house and they're like, yeah, you have to testify. And I'm like, no.
This was a major warning, and the New York judge would not want a replay of such disturbing videos made by the multiple accusers over non-payment grievances. Meanwhile, we all saw what happened in Chicago. Judge Leinenweber's denial of restitutions based on R. Kelly's bankruptcy definitely sparked new fears among the New York accusers, who are no longer sure they will get what they worked for. It's therefore highly possible that the accusers have the DOJ at ransom to either compensate them or have their secret dealings spilled to the media for the world to know exactly how corrupt the system is. Judge Ann Donnelly has indeed approached this matter of restitutions with no sign of compromise or any sort of patience to wait and see how the appeal goes, and now she has issued a court order demanding that UMG pays these women with total disregard of the previous court rulings that also demanded that the music company pays his former landlord, which came in a lot earlier. As a result, the music company is now left in a state of quagmire and confused as to who to start with and who to pay last. One could easily think that perhaps the institutions issuing these contradicting orders are different. Strangely though, it's the same DOJ doing this as a result of its corrupt tendencies that have also seen the institution disregard a previous not guilty ruling, and decided to retry R. Kelly on charges for which he was acquitted back in 2008. There is definitely a huge problem with such a system. According to Jojo, speaking of his studio, I was still living in Southside Chicago when his landlord deployed an army of men who cleaned up the whole place with no care at all what was inside, and everything was headed for the landfill. Pretty much the very same thing was done for his apartment in the Trump Towers. And this shows you the total disregard of R. Kelly's well-being by his accusers. Seeing the New York judge pass such orders in sight of a possible win for the defense at the appeal level is not a strange thing. This coalition of the government, its sponsors who want to see R. Kelly die in prison, and the DOJ with the multiple witnesses has done R. Kelly a disservice from the time his legal ordeal started. R. Kelly certainly doesn't owe them anything at all. According to Mindy Stein, my heart hurts for R. Kelly. It looks like every day they are doing something new that will hurt him. They are practically torturing him, and it's about time they gave him a break. I am hoping and praying that attorney Jennifer Bonjean can work her magic so that he can get on with his life again. It was a shame to learn that the so-called restitutions are now accruing interest. And now the judge issues an order that prioritizes the New York accusers over every other person awaiting the same money. There is definitely something fishy about this forceful recovery, and we need to get to the bottom of this. If you wish to take part in a live interview discussing any of these topics, let us know by sending an email to sashalfnmedia@gmail.com for scheduling. Thank you for watching today's video, a production of LFN Media, giving you another perspective of issues at hand. We make it our business to keep you updated with the truth amidst the cloud of lies the media wants you to believe. It is therefore important to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon and allow all notifications so that you don't miss out whenever we publish a new video.